Hello everyone, this is Scarzig, and welcome back to another episode of Duelyst. We are back after a long break. My computer broke again. I had to send it away for repairs. It's finally back. I'm reset up, I'm reestablished, and ready to go. We got a new patch. The game has changed immensely. The meta is completely all over the place. So a lot of people are scrambling to adapt. I've actually managed to sort something out that is somewhat consistent. We're currently gold rank, so let's go into what we have. This concept was actually something that I experimented with a little bit last patch, but because of the two-draw system, yada yada yada, it was definitely way too slow, way too inconsistent. This deck, the main win condition would be to summon a Grail Master, and then you can it gets keywords every time you summon a minion. And the main strategy is to give Grail Master range and celerity, and then slap your opponent for 12 damage for a finisher. Now, the Grail Master can get its keywords from Jack's True Sight, because you spawn the main body and 4 mini-Jaxes. That's 5 procs, gives Grail Master its full list of abilities. I think it can get celerity, ranged, provoke, flying, and frenzy, if I'm not mistaken. So Jack's True Sight guarantees that you're going to fill out that whole list because it's random to get the keywords that you need. Bone Chill Barrier gives 3. That gives you a good chance of getting your keywords that you need outright, celerity and ranged. And the Gravity Well, of course, summons 4, so that gives you a chance of getting the keywords that you need. And that only comes into play if you draw these cards late, after you play the Grail Master. Because of the synergy Bone Chill Barrier and Jack's True Sight, that's why we're running Razorbacks, of course. They got changed so that their buff only lasts 1 turn, which is normally all you really need with the Razorbacks, because summoning Razorbacks after Jack's True Sight becomes a separate win condition all by itself, and because it buffs walls, you have a chance to hit your opponent with a lot of damage if they're tied up in the Gravity Well, or you have Bone Chill Barrier summoned from before. We've got the Glacial Elementals on lock, so this is pretty much just a standard Vespyr deck with some pretty hilarious win condition thrown in towards the later end. This type of deck, because it's got a lot of combos and synergy built into it, we're going to be playing a lot of cards. So Cryogenesis helps us refill our hand. Snow Chasers also help because they come back to the hand. And then we've also got 3 Sojourners and 2 Spelljammers in the deck as well, to try to keep our hands as full as possible. So these are just a few of the different pieces that we have working with us today to sort of get this deck to roll out. I'm going to have the full deck list in the description as always, but let's get into the ladder and see if I can give you guys a good example of this deck in motion. Typically, my experience using it has been just trying to control the board as best we can early mid-game. I've had a very aggressive decks basically put me on the ropes, and then they're suddenly out of cards, and my card draw is kicking in, and then I'm just able to overtake them. So here, starting out, we've got Bone Chill Barrier. See, when we don't need all these walls early game. So I think tying down, throwing away the Jack's True Sight and the Gravity Well is pretty nice for us. Or I could open up, because Gravity Well was buffed. It used to be 3 mana, now it's 2. So going second, I can just play the Sojourner, or I could go Gravity Well, Crystal Wisp. But I think that Bone Chill Barrier will be fine to keep, because Vitruvian doesn't care too much about Provoke, and having the Bone Chill Barrier instead of the Gravity Well gives us a better chance to proc Glacial Elemental with it. So let's see what my opponent opens up with. Obelisk. Okay, so Sojourner is going to be really good for us. Throw away the Razorback. Chromatic Cold. Ooh. Crystal Wisp into Chromatic Cold might be a bit better. Since it is a bit earlier in the game, we don't need to play Sojourner right off the bat. So this sort of denies my opponent's opening play. The obelisks are a bit hard to deal with. Once I get a bit more board presence, wasting the chromatic colds won't be so much of an issue. We do want to try to save them as much as we can for Starfire Scarabs and Amera Healer. But I just wanted to do that so that it doesn't become an issue. If he combos it with a Doomcaster or something, then that's just a big body that I have to deal with pretty early. So he does have this in a pretty good position, so he can summon something here. Wildfire Ankh is fine. The Crystal Wisp, I don't care if it dies, because we get our mana ramp. So, now versus Vitruvian, because they have so much card draw, playing the Spelljammer isn't that bad, because it drawing me cards is going to be more useful for Vanar than it is for Vitruvian, because they're going to be filling up their hands regardless. So playing the Spelljammer here might be nice, just so I can get immediate value. It sets me up for a stronger play next turn. So let's put the Spelljammer back here and try to gap close to get at this Wildfire Ankh. What my opponent most likely will have to do is step down and away and hit the Spelljammer so that he can threaten to finish it off next turn. If he steps down and away, then I can move the Spelljammer up and then try to box him in as best as I can so that he can't kill it with the Wildfire Ankh. And fortunately for us, Vitruvian normally runs a lot of Swarm with Dream Gazers and whatnot, but because he has the Wildfire Ankh equipped, he's not going to want to do that to waste his charge. So White Widow is pretty interesting. Fortunately for us, I can actually move up, and then we've got our Glacial Elemental Bone Chill Barrier combo. So we'll put you there, and then Bone Chill Barrier. So then those 3 procs kill the White Widow, and the finishes the obelisk off. So now we get the situation where he's now do I want to keep the Grail Master? Since I am going to be at 7 mana next turn, I can play the Grail Master. Or let's we'll keep the Aspect of the Mountains. I think it's a bit too early for Grail Master, because I'd probably want another combo piece instead. So we'll throw that away, get some better options. Because if I had another Bone Chill Barrier or Gravity Well in my hand, then I would definitely keep the Grail Master. It's just that versus Vitruvian, you don't want to throw out your major win condition so early. You want to try to bait out a couple of those Siphon Energies first. Fortunately for us, we can take out quite a few of these creatures. Let me see. This is immune to spells, so... I'm up to 7, so I can actually Blood Tier Alchemist Aspect of the Mountains, which would be pretty crazy. I think that that's actually pretty good. We deny the Sand Howler, so he doesn't have a 3rd wish target. And it sets us up for a pretty good turn next turn. We can move here, summon the Blood Tier Alchemist, ping the artifact, Aspect of the Mountains, takes out its 2 guys, and then we're gold. Now, one thing my opponent could do is Star's Fury. So we're actually going to move the Spelljammer and the Glacial Elemental into a line and call that a turn. Now we're starting to get pretty good control. My opponent does have a full hand, but again, versus Vitruvian, they're going to be refilling their hand anyway with Scion's 1st wish, Scion's 2nd wish, what's the other thing called? Wind Strike draws them cards. They have a lot of innate card draw. So again, us having the Spelljammer benefits us more than them because it lets us get our combo. So he took that 5 damage, which is fine by me. We can take out the Dancing Blades. If I move up, dang. Actually, yeah, if I move forward, summon the Jack's True Sight, and that gives me the additional mana to move up to 9, so I can do Jack's True Sight and Cryogenesis in the same turn, which allows me to take out the Dancing Blades. Since I have such a big board state, I don't mind taking that damage. We're going to swap out the Sojourner as well, since we still have the Spelljammer in play to fill our hand. And now we're starting to get all the pieces together that we need for a Grail Master play. Whatever he summons next turn, with the Glacial Elemental and these Mini Jaxes in play, we've got control of the board. Star's Fury would be really good here. He would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he could take out a few of the Mini Jaxes. Okay, so Rasha's Curse to take out the Spelljammer, maybe? What's he want to do? He could buff it with Dunecaster, take out the Glacial Elemental, which might be better. All depends on what he wants to do. Songweaver. But, okay, I see. Because it gives, I keep forgetting, the Songweaver gives flying and +1/+1. So, we don't really care about that, because I can just kill the Songweaver. Do I want to hit it with my General, as another question. Ooh, I can actually Gravity Well here. I probably want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, so that it minimizes the effect of Star's Fury and keeps him locked down for a few turns while I have these Mini Jaxes go to work. But we'll swap out the Snow Chaser. Grail Master. Okay, see, now we're at 9 mana. We can go Grail Master, Gravity Well to lock him down. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to... Yeah, we'll just trade the Songweaver there. Oh god, roping. Okay, we got all of them. So, that's the other thing about this deck. Sometimes you spend a lot of time thinking about your turns. We have the Glacial Elemental here. Well, actually, right now, unless he has... There's a good chance that he has Siphon Energy. Oh, I guess not. See, that's rough. Even without with Siphon Energy, if he played it on the Grail Master, he was still locked down with the Gravity Well. So, glad the deck performed. Versus Vitruvian, if they can get a foothold, then they become really tricky to take down. Fortunately for me, I was able to establish a really dominating control over the board with the Spelljammer keeping me refilled and the Glacial Elemental. So that was definitely pretty good. It seemed pretty convincing for sure, but I think that this deck can definitely go south pretty fast if you don't draw your pieces in the right order, or sometimes your opponent just has like so much early pressure that you can't do anything about it. So Aspect of the Mountains I think can go. Crystal Cloaker ×2 is a nice two-turn play. Is there anything I'd rather have? A Glacial Elemental. Spelljammer's also nice. So my opponent's probably just going to move forward and play Windblade Adept, maybe. This is kind of where Silvertongue Corsair comes in, because because the opponent's general can't finish it off, you can play it going second with really no fear. If he hits it with the Windblade Adept, then it trades, and then you just go from there. If it's like a 2-3, he can hit the 2-3 into the Corsair, do some damage, but then he can't finish it off with his general. If it's an Azurite Lion, that's really good for me. Windblade Adept. Okay. So we're going to chuck the Jack's True Sight back. Actually, since I'm going second, I can hit 6 mana pretty... No, we'll throw it back. See if we can get something a bit better. Sojourner. Spelljammer? No, we don't need to play our card draw right away. I think we'll go... Corsair. Because you could normally go Corsair and then have the 1 mana to summon the Snow Chaser. It's just that in order to summon the Snow Chaser in a safe spot, out of range of the general and his opening 2-drop, you have to summon it like here or something. Or here, because there's the threat of Silverguard Knight. And then it takes like 3 turns to safely get it infiltrated, and it's really not worth it. It's better to have your way to just play it in infiltrate range. So you see here, instead of taking the mana, he's actually going to move up and trade into the Silvertongue Corsair. So it does its job by taking that 4 damage that I don't have to. So now see, he's got to think, because he can move the Windblade Adept to take that mana if he wants, but then if he moves his general forward, it puts him in an awkward spot where Windblade Adept isn't boosted, and then the Silvertongue Corsair gets to trade into it and live. Primus Fist isn't a good play either, because Windblade Adept will just die. Yeah, see, so he's got a 2-3 right now that can't be targeted by spells, and he gets to draw a card. So that's just a utility play. So here, I actually do have the option to throw down the Sojourner and the Snow Chaser into infiltrate range. So that's what we're going to do. Do I want to hit this? Yeah, we're going to hit this so that if he attacks the Sojourner, it'll die. And I think that's pretty good. And now we've got this thing threatening, because when you play it on like a really low threat board, I guess you could say, it's not that bad. Arclight Regalia. Okay. So that draws me 1 card, because Arclight Regalia prevents the Sojourner from doing damage. Its effect to draw a card only procs when the damage goes through. So, fortunately, let me see, if I do Bloodtear Alchemist to ping for 1, and then attack, we can take 2 charges off of that thing. I'm going to throw back the Crystal Cloaker to see if I can get something else. So I can summon the Crystal Cloaker here, infiltrate range. I actually want to move down. Glacial Elemental. And then Gravity Well. Actually, we'll do Bloodtear Alchemist to ping, and then Gravity Well. Because now we can take 2 charges off of Regalia. And now we've got 2 Snow Chasers and a Crystal Cloaker in hand. to deal with whatever he might summon. We've got him tied up right now, so this is pretty good for us. And I won't mind the Blood Tier Alchemist taking that charge. Well, it has to tank that missing damage first, and then it goes through. So we'll see how my opponent deals with this. I've got the Spelljammer now, and you can see my opponent has almost a full hand, and I'm starting to run low. So I can put the Spelljammer down, and then Snow Chasers can keep cycling to deal with stuff. Iron Cliff. Can't be hit by spells. Okay, so we've got 2, 4, 6 damage, 8, 10. So we can kill this. And he gets to keep his Regalia for another turn. Three, 4, 5. We don't have enough to play Spelljammer this turn, though, which is a bit unfortunate, but overall it's not so bad. Fortunately for us, when your opponent summons like a big singular creature like this, then Snow Chasers just do things to it. Okay, and we are gonna probably should move the Glacial Elemental, but we are gonna hold the Spelljammer, so we can just summon that next turn. What if I summon the Grail Master? No, summoning the Spelljammer will be better. The good news is that next turn we can take out this Regalia no matter what. Unless he's got another Iron Cliff. Martyrdom? Okay. Yeah, so not moving the Glacial Elemental doesn't really matter. Silverguard Knight. Into here. Okay. So we are going to... see, I can do 4... dish trades, then I can take out the Regalia. He's still tied down for 2 turns. And then I've got the Spelljammer to keep us going. So we're just going to do that. And now we've got the Snow Chasers in infiltrate range again. So this is a really good cycle for us with the Snow Chasers. They keep coming back, and the Gravity Well's holding them in place. Unfortunately, this is a very slow going, low damage sort of setup. Thinking about it now, I probably could have summoned the Grail Master because the Snow Chasers would come back. Well, if we can get up to 9 mana, then that becomes a lot more viable. But he's shown us that he has the Martyrdom and stuff like that. So we want to try to threaten and have that have those removal spells get wasted. So he's been locked down for a few turns, and we've just been dealing with his threats. Holy Immolation. It's whatever. So let's throw back a Grail Master first and see what we get. Crystal Cloaker. So now you have to think, what is the best time to play Grail Master? Because I can play the Razorback, have one Snow Chaser trade, the second Snow Chaser hits him and then comes back, and then I can replay it, and then I've got the Crystal Cloaker to follow up with. So I think that that's actually the proper play. Yeah, so if I move here, move this Snow Chaser, summon the Razorback, so that hits. Play. Got the Snow Chaser back, and where do we want the Crystal Cloaker? We'll summon it over here. keep it out of range if he's got another Holy Immolation set up. And then it's just here as an extra 4 damage too. Whatever. So now he's sort of playing my game where he has to keep dealing with these Snow Chasers cycling. I sacrificed the 1 to get rid of the Windblade Adept. Into Holy Immolation. Yep. That's fine. Because now I've got the Crystal Cloaker here to trade, and then I can just back off. I'm actually probably going to throw back the Grail Master here. Yeah, the Sojourner's a lot better. Unfortunately, we were kind of forced to play the True Sight. Because playing the Grail Master raw like that is a bit risky. I prefer to play it and have Bone Chill Barriers online. Another Arclight Sentinel? Jesus. Okay, so 2-4. Getting really low. Sojourner's nice. Alright, so 2. Okay, so I need to attack this. And then you get attacked. Glacial Elemental spawns. Play the second Snow Chaser. And then we've got Sojourner doing work for us. Alright, so my opponent's now top decking, and I have the better board state. So outside of Tempest, he's not really going to be doing much. Okay, so he's running. We're going to swap out the Crystal Wisp. We don't need it at 9 mana. Voice of the Wind is really nice for us, because now we can start poking. Attack. Get a card. Silvertongue Corsair is beautiful because we can summon Voice of the Wind. Where do we want to summon it? Here, I guess. Silvertongue Corsair here. Snow Chaser there. Got a whole mess of stuff going on. Alright. So he's used 2 Holy Immolations, so he theoretically, if he had a setup for a second one, instead of moving this way, he would have stepped towards my general, because I would die to 3rd Holy Immolation doing 4 damage plus general attack. So you see here, he's like desperately trying to take out my core, I guess you would call it, my controlling core. So now we've got the Sojourner drawing me another card. I summon the Crystal Wisp. Let me see, so that's 3, 7, yeah, it's GG. I think, did I miscalculate? No. Quick Chromatic Cold. Nice. Whew. So things got pretty rough there. My opponent had the mid-game pressure, but you can see with Lionar, they do tend to run out of steam. They don't have a lot of innate card draw. They have a cantrip, which is when you play a card that has an effect that draws a card, it's referred to as a cantrip. From the Aegis Barrier, was it called? And so yeah, they run out of steam. That's when this deck pulls ahead on them. I don't think I played any Spelljammers that game. It was Sojourners mainly doing selfish card draw for me. So pretty solid, pretty solid. These games are running pretty long though, so I think that so this episode doesn't get too long, we're going to stop it here. But I'm so glad that that deck went off for me properly, because I was a bit worried. We saw how the Gravity Wells really locked down the opponent. I was running this deck without Gravity Wells, and it offers so much additional utility to the deck defensively and for proccing Grail Master's effect that I think you can't really play this deck without them. Before I crafted those and added them to the deck, it was very inconsistent, and that kind of adds more early mid-game pressure, as you saw in that Lionar game. Let's wrap this up. Thank you for stopping by and watching this video. Super glad to be back. Tune in for more. Like and subscribe, all that business. I will see you next time. Have a good one.